And hello, movie lovers, and welcome to the show. Tonight, I actually have a very good friend of mine. I actually have the Midnight Cinema Podcast YouTube channel, Josh, with me. And we are here to watch the chaos rise from the
You're damn right.
bloody hell. So, let's go on ahead and watch this thing rise like a phoenix from the
Yes, yes, there shall be bloodshed and
Yes,
much,
there shall
much
be.
more.
And I do not have the build to be able to clean this mess up afterwards.
No, but my hammer will cause all kinds of chaos around this world.
We're not here to talk about the big hammer.
No,
So,
no, not that hammer.
and hello, good sir.
Hello, good sir. How are you, good sir?
I'm good, good sir. I'm
It's
here
just good
to
to
do
see
a
you again,
review,
good
good
sir.
sir.
Yes, let us
Thank
do this
you.
review, good
It has
sir.
been a while. My three-eyed raven had to send you an invitation.
Ah, well, the invitation was received via flight patterns. These crows seem to be moving south, and it ain't even winter yet.
Yes, indeed, good sir. So we are here to talk about Chaos Rising. This is actually a short film that was sent in to me. And Rising is basically an epic fantasy action film drawing inspiration from the rich and immersive Warhammer universe, punching way above its weight. Chaos Rising stands strong, the passionate heart of independent film, but with all the qualities of a big budget production, which we actually see in the movie. We'll get to that in a little minute. But Chaos Rising is proudly independent and ambitious project from combat experts whose skills and featured in Outlander, Game of Thrones, and projects by Ridley Scott. The film is founded by generous Kickstarter pledges, suppressing the original campaign targeted in just 24 hours. That is crazy.
Mm.
Chaos Rising swiftly became a hot topic on Reddit and social media and YouTube. The story unfolds as a forfeited village in Britain and is under siege by the malevolent Chaos Warband from the Northern Waste. Baron Hellebolt is taken by surprise during the Reverend Breton celebration of Holy Grail Day. The formidable Chaos, martyred Skyhammer clan, descended upon the fortress, but with the timely arrival of a Florian L'anguille and his valiant knights, does the Villagard forestand a fighting chance against the onslaught. So, my thing is this. I really love the way this actually introduces us to this world that we're about to partake in. And by what I mean by that, I like how it introduces us to the king with a celebration, which also makes us, the audience, feel like we are also invited to this festival, and also makes us feel like how the crowd actually feels within this festival itself, that everybody's celebrating, everybody's just having a good time. And when we see the king, it's like, okay, we don't care about you, we don't like you, and we actually get that sense. We actually feel the same way they do, because whenever he seems like a douchebag. What about you, though?
I completely agree. I remember gazing upon how the camera was moving through the village, and it really does feel like you're just truly immersed within this immersive world known as the old world of Warhammer, and it's truly amazing. And when you get to the king, and he's sitting over there just drinking his wine, it seems that always is the drink of choice, because he got pissed off with the squire. The squire's like, "Ale, good sir." He says, "No, jacks him up. Wine. I want wine. Why? Why? Why are you whining in such a way? Because you want wine." You see what I did there? Amazing. Now, I must say that this scene also reminded me of the opening. Kind of gave me a flashback to watching the 2010 version of Robin Hood, and how at some point in the middle of battle, they're having the celebration going on, and you're actually going through the village, seeing what the soldiers are dealing with as they're camping out on the forefront. And it was absolutely amazing. I just wonder if they drew inspiration from that. But I must say that it was absolutely beautiful. I love how they
It
did
was
that.
a beautiful scene.
And the camera work alone is just really well done.
It really is. If you think about it, though, the lighting for it wasn't too dark. We were able to see the action sequences. It didn't have the shaky camera work. Also, too, the stunt work, the stunt coordination was really good.
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
well. And that's what I mean by the fact that it wasn't shaky cam or anything, because we're able to see everything in its full detail. And they don't shy away from the goriness of this movie either,
No.
which is something I really do appreciate with it.
Of course. So you have to understand that on Asgard, when we went to war, it was never nice. It was always brutal. Scalps taken, hearts ripped out of their chests, lungs removed from the cavity. It's just amazing how they were able to do this and behead the bastards left and right. Beards screaming, yes, glory, absolutely in every way, shape, and form. And they really, really nailed the hammer on this one.
Speaking of the hammer, they actually had two hammers.
Was it Black and Decker?
I'm done with you. But seriously, I like the whole entire deal where we see one of the guys come out there, and basically also too that while the celebration's happening, and I'm going to get into the two hammers in a minute, but while the celebration's being taken, and being celebrated, you actually see about a couple of yards away, or maybe let's say maybe a couple of yards or so.
Are you talking about when the barbarians come in?
Yeah, when the barbarians came in,
I would say a few hundred, like maybe
few hundred yards,
maybe about 100 yards, because
Okay,
they were
about 100 yards.
they're not that far from the river.
No, they're not. Josh was there the whole time, but but no, like I was saying, there was about 100 yards away from it, and it makes you in suspense of what's going to happen. Because during this whole entire celebration, you have this darkness within this group that brings in this darkness and to evade this camp. And I like how in this camp with the celebration, he's like, the one guy's trying to tell this kid a glorious story. And then all of a sudden he winds up, he goes, yes, I remember like it was yesterday when I had, when something winded up happening to me and it struck me right here on in my heart. Then all of a sudden the axe winds up getting thrown at him and he winds up dying.
Yes.
Right then and there.
Immediately. Like, it's funny how when it took place, the transition from the sky shot, and you're just seeing the overlay of the forest, and you're pulling back, and then you go to the river, but you hear the drums in the background, and you already know, as soon as you hear the drums, it's like they're calling for war. Like, you already knew. And I really like the shot, how they set it up where the camera was kind of offset, or the ship was kind of off center, and it just peels into the camera. And then they would go up on the shore, and then they start to wreak havoc. It's beautiful. Trust and believe. Like,
it really is.
Like these guys, I mean, I know that they worked on a lot of big projects and with, big names. And so they were able to come together and do this one here. And I really think that if someone picks this up, it gives them the opportunity that they will definitely take the world by storm.
I think so too. I think this deserves to be actually on a TV series, stuff like that. And it's supposed to be a 3-part series, but I think I can go way past 3 parts. And I don't know anything about the Chaos Rising or anything like that. I'm just going in it as a film fan of fantasy and fiction, someone that likes Game of Thrones and things like that. And that's how I'm viewing this as. So if you like Game of Thrones, if you're into fantasy-based stuff, this is for you. And also, too, this also has like a 70s, 80s kind of style of fantasy movies, TV show kind of way of doing it. And I don't mean that in a bad way at all, because the practical effects are fantastic in this thing, especially whenever you've seen the limbs getting chopped off of one guy and stuff like that. It looks very realistic.
Yeah.
It has, and it's not cheesy either. I mean, the dialogue is very good. The storytelling is fantastic. The lore itself, when we first get introduced to these characters, I fell in love with this movie right away. I felt like I was eating at medieval times. That's how, and once again, that's not a bad thing, because I like this kind of stuff. I like this kind of way of acting and introducing us to these characters and not knowing what's going to happen to them. I think it's fantastic.
Was it because of the jousting?
I think it was because of the jousting.
Did you know that?
Definitely did it for me.
Did you know that in Maryland, the state sport is actually jousting? State sport of Maryland is actually jousting. Hey, there's a reason it's called Lord Baltimore.
But seriously, though, the bloodbath of the war happening among the festival is one of the most horrifying things in the film. and the practical effects are really good.
Mhm.
What else can you say about this film?
I'd say the cinematography and the lighting is really well done because it's really just fire, and the way that they strategically placed the fire around the camp and how they were able to just incorporate all that in the warmth of the light and play with that in ways, to make a scene darker or add a little more lightheartedness to one scene or just add a little bit more tension to another. It's really, really well set up. And the set pieces, actually, that's another thing. I wonder how long it took to build those sets or if they were borrowed sets.
That looks like an expensive set,
Yeah.
to be honest with you. And kudos to those people that built that set, because it takes time, that takes effort. This is how much they believed in this project.
Yeah.
And I love the efforts that they put into it. I thought the efforts was there. I really felt like I was in this town watching this thing go down. And I didn't even feel like I was an audience. I actually felt like I was in this world.
Mm-hmm. I think
well.
I feel like most of the money went into the armor, the weapons, the practical effects. Obviously, you have to take care of the actors and insurance policies with that. But as far as like the film is set up, I really think that the sets, they look expensive, but they're not as expensive as we would think, because a lot of it's just wood and just
With that being said, there's also another thing that I wanted to talk about. Thing the office.
Let us not play the game of who has the bigger cock.
You know what? Speaking of that, one of the characters is to me is I really loved one of the characters in this movie. Dude, the one that what was the one with the knight armor the whole entire time?
There's a lot of them with knight armor.
At least I didn't say the set was made out of wood.
But it was made out of tree bark, which means it was. I think you're talking about Bertrand. You're talking about the one that was jawing at the mouth all the time. Yeah, that's Bertrand.
Yeah, I definitely like how he said, "Hey, I like the free wine and the whores."
So he
going on.
That's lines. Yeah, no, he was good, especially in like the final battle when he's confronting in the confrontation. Obviously we're going non-spoiler. But it's just the line that he says. He's like, Ulfgar. Sounds like a whore that I bedded. Just like swings at him.
And the other thing too is
you hit like it too.
The other thing too that I thought that was hilarious though too was when he goes, "These people are going to be coming to kill your wives," and talking to the farmers. He goes, "I don't have a wife."
Just pick up the bloody bow.
Yeah, just pick up the bloody thing. He picks up the rake or the pitchfork and sends him out there since he has nothing to lose. We got single.
Well, here's the thing. When you think about it in all of its entirety, the man did have something to lose: a scalp, a heart, limbs, his very life, his people, his lord. I thought, nope, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I almost spoiled. I'm not going to do it.
Okay.
I had to stop myself.
Another thing I thought that was funny though too, man, was remember when he's looking at the catapult to burn the villages and stuff like that, to burn the other crew?
Yeah.
My other thing goes, well, that's an antique. Well, sometimes you need an antique.
Sometimes you need an antique. That was perfect. And it's funny how he incorporated that. And then you had texted me about it when we were going to do this review. And you would text me the line, and I was like, antique. And so then when it finally came around to when that scene finally came about, I was like, oh, there it is. I got you. I fell out laughing when he did that. I said, "Ha, John, very clever." Had a Jurassic Park moment. I was like, clever John.
Oh, thank you, good sir.
You're welcome, good sir. Of course.
Of course. But all in all, though, I thought this film was fun. It was entertaining. The special effects for the rat, though, and then because the rat is basically the antagonist as well. There is a big, huge rat in this movie too.
I would love to see a fight between him and Master Splinter.
Anyways,
Can you imagine a cage fight between those two, Stuart Little and
But I thought the
Templeton?
gemstone special effects was really good.
The gemstone special effects. The gemstone.
Yeah, remember whenever he's holding like the green gemstone?
Oh yes.
I sense like a Lord of the Rings kind of vibe with it and stuff like that. I thought the special effects was top notch. Nothing about this actually felt forced. It felt very natural. It felt like I was there. Even the part where the knight's actually going into the king's quarters and he's calling him a coward, and then he tells him to look to the board because that's actually where his legend is at, where the knight's legend is, and then he winds up getting the courage to try and take down the enemy. But I thought it was really good.
I guess it was like you know what? Now that I think about it, I think what they were alluding to as far as the Lady of the Lake, maybe she was the one who made the tapestry. Or because it is like a prophecy. Yeah. Because the way it plays out that you see on the tapestry, it's like a genuine prophecy that's going on. That's taking place, and Florian is at the center of it to lead them to defeat. I forget the savage tribe's name. I just call them the barbarians. But yeah, I think now the more that I think about it, I think that's who the Lady of the Lake was, because at the beginning they were saying, how do we, or we have to visit, let's pay a visit to the Lady of the Lake, you know. But it was just like, it's mentioned a few times, but it's not really, it's more like shown. I mean, not even shown, it's more like told, and then you have to try to figure it out yourself. Like, well,
right. I like that.
Lake? Yeah. And I think that she's pretty much like their oracle, or essentially their prophetess, maybe. Or maybe it's their goddess and she just sent them a message about what was to take place. Because in mythology, you know, gods can't get involved. So it's like, well, here's the prophecy. This is what's going to happen. You decide whether or not you do it, basically.
Right. I also got the sense of when the men go out on Game of Thrones, you know, and they're on that ice wall and they have to pledge to being a knight, to being a guard, basically. And that's what it reminded me of the Lady of the Lake, is them pledging that pledge to that god or to their service to the Lady of the Lake. What do you think?
I think that's reasonable. I also think that I wonder who the barbarians serve. Like, who do they represent?
That'd be interesting. That's something I would like for them to expand on for whenever they do the next 2 episodes. And I'm saying that because I think that this is something that people would want to watch. And you know, the part where you like the slow motion part, right? Where the knight thought that he killed him for the very first time, and how he screams. I know that you like that part, and that had like a very Vikings kind of vibe. The TV show Vikings.
Yeah, it was very poetic because the way that it caps off at the end when you see it, or like the way he describes it when he's like, you know, I killed him before, I'll kill him again. It kind of reminds me of like in the first Spider-Man, right?
Right.
And you see Norman crawling across the floor talking to the mask, and Goblin is telling him in his head that, you know, the cunning warrior attacks neither body nor mind. And Norman says, tell me how. And he's like, the heart, Osborn. First we attack his heart. And I'm like, so that's what you went for, as opposed to, you know, actually committing the act. Like you said, you did it, but people believe that you actually physically did it, but you emotionally did it. And so, yeah.
That's what I got out of that too, though, man. Like, it reminded me of Sons of Anarchy in a sense, though, too, whenever Jax killed Clay's spirit by ripping up the president's patch. And I told my wife, I said, there's 2 ways that you can kill somebody. Spiritually, kill somebody's spirit, or physically. This guy manages to kill the other character's heart by killing someone that he loves. Like you mentioned, and that's
we don't know
exactly
who
what
it
I
is.
thought.
Yeah, like it's we don't know who she was. Like, was she his wife? Was she his
How
daughter?
she's
Was she his
related to him
friend?
or
Was she
anything.
related? Like, yeah, it's never alluded to. All you see is just her leaping to his defense or pushing him out the way,
Right.
which I thought was really interesting story wise, because usually you see that the other way around. And
I like the fact that it leaves it open for interpretation. Like you can
Mhm.
say, well, he lost his wife, or maybe his sister, or his cousin, or someone that's close to him.
Mhm.
So there's no label as to who she is. We can only assume maybe it might be his wife or girlfriend or something. But it
Right.
could be a family member. It could be anything. And I like how it's open to interpretation on how someone uses
Mhm.
it that way.
Yeah. No, it was really smart. I think that the more you can, I think shows or movies like this do a very good job of allowing you to figure things out, as opposed to just showing you everything.
Right.
Oh,
Showing and telling.
well, yeah, they show and tell you, but they also allow. They don't play it like the audience is dumb. Like they play it as, we know you can figure this out.
Exactly.
Sometimes they can get really complex, and it's just like it would be something that you wouldn't expect. But I like how it's not stated, and then the way it's concluded. Like even still, we don't know, and maybe in the next two parts, maybe it becomes more alluded to or brought to the forefront. But I think they may just leave it at that. Like all we know is it was somebody close to him. That's who he lost, and now they're seeing each other again. So now it's time for war.
Right. And I like how simplistic it is. Like it's not
Yeah.
overcomplicated or anything like that. When we get introduced to these characters, these are who they are. There's no lore, mythology, or anything like that to who they are. It's us as an audience to actually interpret who we think they are versus
Mhm.
them telling us who they are. So that's something that I thought that was really fun. So that's everything about Chaos Rising. I think this is actually a good short film introduction into maybe a TV series or maybe a full blown movie sometime in the future. But I think that putting it as like a 3-part, I think I want to see more. I want to see more than 3.
I agree. Yeah, no, I definitely want to see more than three. I would love for this to continue. Uh, John, why are you laughing, sir?
Someone has actually left me a comment in the private chat.
Who could that be? I wonder.
I don't know, Mr. Midnight, the true son of Odin.
Not me. The name's Dr. Dingle.
And with that being said, guys, that's going to be it as far as this review goes. I want to thank everyone that was allowing us to be able to review this film. This means so much to us. We enjoyed this film for what it is. You guys can actually now view it on YouTube, and that's how we watched it on YouTube
Mm-hmm.
as well. Even though I had the private screener, I watched the screener first, and then I wanted to show my full support by watching it on YouTube. And I watched this about 4 or 5 times, so I definitely enjoyed it. Because it
Yeah.
has a rewatchability. You always discover something new with this film. It's original, it's authentic, it has everything that you need in a fantasy type of movie or TV show. So, with that being said, Josh, do you have anything coming out as far as your channel goes and things like that?
So I am working on a review for one of my favorite animated movies ever, which like within recent years has really climbed that ladder. It's insane. Surf's Up. Really just it's so unique. So I'm working on a review for that. I've got more Try Not to Laughs coming from my channel, some older reviews, older movie reviews I'm gonna do, like Honey Boy, Peanut Butter Falcon, Arrival, because John likes Arrival a lot. Because Arrival is amazing in every way.
John does not like Arrival.
Which I will never understand why John does not like Arrival. I just don't get it. I just don't get
I'm
it.
not going to watch the movie.
I actually tagged John on X. Like, I don't know what to say as far as how are we Xing? That just sounds
I
weird.
can tell some people what to do right now. You guys can go ahead, like and subscribe to my channel. Don't forget, we actually have our Goonies review dropping tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock Central Time, 9 o'clock Eastern Time, 6 o'clock a.m. Pacific Standard Time over there for the audio podcast and also for the video as well. So Always until next time, guys. It's been real. It's been fun. I can't wait to do this again. And we'll catch you on the next one. Have a great and safe night.